What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, crispy, flavorful, amazing chili crisp chicken. That's right, folks. I took some chicken thighs, threw them on the direct heat barbecue cooker, and then topped them with some scratch-made chili crisp. Coming up. This is some chicken. Pat them dry. And what I got here is some chicken leg quarters. Picked these up from the grocery store, nothing special here. And I gotta say, I love a good chicken leg quarter. It's got some of the best parts of the whole chicken. You got that thigh, lots of good skin on there, a little extra skin for getting nice and crispy, and who doesn't love a good drumstick? And I don't know about you, but meat's getting pretty expensive these days. And whenever I think about summer grilling on a really nice, beautiful, sunny day like today, I love picking up some leg quarters. You know, we got 5 leg quarters here, about 4 pounds of meat that cost me just over $5. $5.40. So a pretty good deal. And they're fun and easy to cook. You know, whatever kind of grill you got. Pellet grill, offset, chud box, gas grill, anything that can go pretty hot and fast will produce some really good chicken leg quarters. But first things first, I'm gonna give these a good old-fashioned dry brine with some kosher salt, nice healthy coating. Also gonna go on with some granulated garlic, helps with the color and of course the flavor. Keeping it real simple today, folks. And just a light dusting of some 16 mesh black pepper. On sale now, chudsbbq.com, where you could also buy the SPG that I sell, but the ratio for that is a little heavier on the black pepper, more for beef, and I don't want too much black pepper on this chicken. But both sides and the edges, folks, come on, you know the drill at this point, but just a nice sprinkling, beautiful. But of course, these are leg quarters, you can do whatever you want, any rub will work, you could just go salt, because there's a million ways to make these taste good. Love it. So now onto a wire rack, these go into the fridge for the next few hours to get a little dry brine going on. And I always like doing a dry brine on skin-on pieces of chicken like this. It's gonna allow time for that salt to penetrate into the meat, while simultaneously drying out the skin, which will theoretically make it crispier in a couple hours. I think overnight would be better for that drying purpose, but just a couple hours is good enough. Hey y'all, just wanted to pop in real quick to let you know about a really cool event that is coming up. And if you haven't heard about it yet, it's the Desperado Meat Fest down in Boerne, Texas, where I'm gonna go down and meet up with Matt Carricker from Demolition Ranch, as well as Jeremy Yoder from Mad Scientist Barbecue and Al Fragoni. And between all of us, we're gonna be cooking a whole bunch of meat. Jeremy and I are in charge of brisket, ribs, and sausage. Al Fragoni's gonna do what he does best, which is live fire cooking, probably some whole animals, a bunch of really good steaks and things like that. It's on August 3rd. Tickets are on sale now. So if you wanna come hang out with us barbecue YouTubers, as well as Matt Carricker from Demolition Ranch and the whole crew down there on his new resort, be sure to get your tickets soon because they are selling out quick. I'll have a link in the description box with all the information you need, but it should be a really fun time. And I hope to see you there. And while we wait for that chicken to dry brine, let's go ahead and bust out a quick chili crisp. And if you're unfamiliar with chili crisp or chili oil, it's a super flavorful condiment that goes well on pretty much everything. I've had some Fly by Jing chili crisp in my cabinet for years at this point, but pretty much every store-bought one I've ever had is really tasty. It can be made with a whole bunch of different ingredients, but I've never actually made one myself. So let's get that started as roofing continues and the rain pours down. And now that all of our veggies chopped into this jar, we're gonna go in with some Chinese chili flakes. Got these on the internet. They look a lot like Arbol, but these ones are already crushed up, which saved me some time. In they go. But you could use whatever kind of chilies you like. Just some red chili flakes would be fine. Probably some gochujang would be good. But these are smelling real nice. Also going in with some sesame seeds, some paprika, some white pepper, some salt, a little bit of sugar, some MSG, but feel free to leave it out if you don't like flavor. Also gonna go in with a little bit of soy sauce and just a couple drops of some sesame oil. Beautiful. Set this aside for a minute. And now into this pot, we're gonna go in with 3 cups of oil. This is avocado oil, but any neutral oil will be just fine. We're gonna get that nice and hot. Heating up oil in the rain, not the smartest idea. But now that the oil is up to temp around 300 degrees, we're gonna go in with our thinly sliced shallots and get those nice and crispy. Should only take a couple minutes. And after a couple seconds, those are looking nice and crispy, so I'm gonna send them through a strainer. Looking nice and golden brown and smelling fantastic. And now that our oil is back up to temp, in we go with our ginger. And you probably could do all this at the same time, but ginger and garlic and shallot all kind of cook at different temps, and I don't want to risk burning any of it, so that's why I'm doing it all separately, but you could probably get away with it. And the thought process here is to cook all the veg first so I can add it at the end, so when we pour all the hot oil into the jar, we know all the veg is already perfectly cooked and separate, so it doesn't burn anything else. And also, this will infuse all the oil with all its flavor ahead of time, making sure we have as much flavor going on as possible. And after just a minute or so of cooking the ginger, in we go with our garlic. And we're just gonna cook that for a couple minutes till it's nice and golden brown. And then get that all strained out as well. Oh, that looks perfect. Glad it didn't burn. And now, last but not least, up to temp again, I'm gonna go in with 1 cinnamon stick, boop, a couple star anise, and some Sichuan peppercorns. We're gonna let those fry up, get nice and fragrant, release all of their good smells, and cook down for a little bit to infuse this oil even more. And at this point, this oil is ripping hot, probably 375 degrees, maybe even 400. And now it's time to do the dangerous part and not spill any of it. Oh, that's so cool looking. Ah! I wasn't paying attention. And get in there and mix it all. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, God. Stop looking in the viewfinder when you're filming stuff. That's going to stay on the table for a while. That smells incredible. Might have got that a little too hot. All right, that's looking pretty good. It's been deep frying in here. All those chilies are getting toasted. Sesame seeds are toasted. And I got to say, it looks really cool. But I'm going to let this cool down because it is still bubbling in there. So I'm going to give this like 20 minutes. And after a brief cool down, this stuff is still really hot, but not screaming. Nothing's bubbling and boiling anymore. And it's looking real nice. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add in all of our veg. And again, I'm adding this at this stage because otherwise it would have just kept cooking and probably burned. This is gonna add a lot of really nice crunch to our chili crisp here. And there's a whole bunch of recipes you can find on the internet, different ingredients like bean and soy sauce, different vinegars, all sorts of things you can throw in here, but this is looking pretty good to me and smelling great. And at this point, you could go through and pull out that cinnamon stick and the star anise, but I'm gonna leave these in to infuse more of their flavor, just trying to avoid them when I'm using the stuff. And I might pull them out after this completely cools down. But looking nice and chunky, beautiful infused oil, lots of good crisp on that, and I know it's hot, but I gotta just give that a little taste. Oh wow, that is phenomenal. Szechuan peppercorns are definitely coming through, that kind of floral, numbing spice. A lot of crunch from the sesame seeds, and that oil is like red now. Infused with so much flavor. Yeah, that's really good. Might add another pinch of salt, maybe some soy sauce. My tongue is numb. Just threw a little more soy sauce in there, bump up that salinity, and now it's just perfect. I gotta stop eating it. Very good. Definitely got some heat to it though. Whew. And just like that, our homemade chili crisp is done. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Although in hindsight, I wish I just added more salt instead of soy sauce at the end because it got a little bit darker than I like, but it's really all about the flavor. But I'm gonna let this continue to cool down, and it's probably gonna get better over the next few days as all those flavors continue to develop into that oil. And basically what you're left with is some really good infused oil that you can put on anything, put it on your eggs. And of course, you got all the crispy stuff in there that you can put on top of steaks or on top of chicken, which is what's next for us. So let's go ahead and fire up that pit. And on the pit we go, doing a classic direct heat barbecue chicken cook today. Got the Chud box fired up to 300 degrees. Spent about 4 hours on the dry brine on these chicken leg quarters, which should be plenty. And on they go. Like I said, gonna cook these pretty hot and fast, 300 degrees. We'll flip them over in a little bit, but until then, just gonna let them smoke away. So it's been like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, to be honest with you. I never look at the clock when I'm doing these videos, and I'll have to look at the footage. And then I'll let you know how long this cook took, but let's see what these are looking like. Ooh, hearing that sizzle, a lot of fat coming out of these, hitting the coals, giving us that wonderful direct heat flavor. Undersides are looking really nice, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip these over, get that skin nice and crispy. Looking pretty good, smelling great. Super simple cook today, gotta love that, because that's what summer's all about, folks. Beautiful. Now we're gonna get that skin nice and crispy, and these should not take too much longer. All right, it's been about 2 hours on these thighs total, maybe a little bit longer, which is a pretty long time for some leg quarters, but I like to take my dark meat pretty far. Let's flip these over, see how they're looking. Beautiful color, nice crispy looking skin, smells really good. These are definitely probing in the 190s at this point, but super simple cook, really not much to it. One load of charcoal, all you need for some nice juicy, tender, crispy skin chicken thighs. I'm gonna pull these off and let them rest. And honestly, not my best looking leg quarters. I wish I got that fire just a little bit hotter, but not much to complain about here. Again, this is probably, what, $3 worth of meat? I probably spent more money on charcoal than I did on this chicken for this cook. Gotta love that. Also think a little more complex rub could have added some more color, but that's why we got the chili crisp. That'll add a lot of color. And of course flavor. And there are plenty of ways I could have gone about this cook. I could have poured this on while they were cooking, but because it's oil, I figured we'd have some grease fires if I did that. But this stuff is smelling so good. Fully cooled down at this point, and I just can't stop stirring it. It's like a snow globe made of flavor. But I'm gonna go deep, get some nice chunky chunkies, and then we're just gonna go right over the top. Oh, look at that color. It smells so good. Oops. Ooh, some shallots on that one. And this is really why I wanted to make this recipe, is because just that oil alone is a great addition to some barbecue chicken, but adding that extra texture and crunch on top of that is only gonna be a welcome addition. So while these thighs cool down, I'm just gonna baste these periodically here, making sure we get some nice oil all over the skin. It's kind of like a Nashville hot situation. And of course, all that crispiness on top. And I've said it 5 times, but the smell, direct heat chicken with Sichuan chili oil on top. Yes, please. All right, I'm gonna let these rest and we'll slice on in. All right, after a nice long rest, these have come down to eating temperature, and I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how that crisp just kind of adhered to the chicken, but I think it's time to slice these up and see how they came out. Just gonna break these right in half. Not much to it. Pretty simple recipe, folks, but smelling good, looking good, and just some tasty looking barbecue chicken, if I do say so myself. I gotta go for it. Whoa, that is phenomenal. So much flavor. That is a ridiculous bite of chicken right there, folks. I mean, right off the bat, you get a ton of that direct heat barbecue flavor, which is just addicting. If you haven't had direct heat barbecue yet, you definitely gotta check it out. It is unlike anything else. And then you just get hit with this super juicy chicken, you know? It's leg quarters cooked to tenderness, covered in oil. So you know they're gonna be juicy. And then the flavor comes in. It's not as spicy as I thought. You know, when I was eating that stuff by itself, it was pretty spicy, but on food like this, it really mellowed out and just adds a perfect background heat and a ton of floral flavor. And I'm a big fan of Sichuan peppercorns, you know? Any Sichuan food, I'm in for it. It's just a flavor bomb. You know, you got all those crispies on top too. Garlic, ginger, those scallions that are fried up. Little juice on the table. Don't mind if I do. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Come on. That is so good. So simple. It's like 2 ingredients. Chicken and chili crisp and seasoning. Those Szechuan peppercorns are so flavorful. That is just a very pleasant, delicious bite of food. A little bit of heat, a lot of flavor, barbecue chicken, juicy meat. Come on, right off the bone. Dip that in some of this juice on the board here. I mean, come on. This stuff is so good on absolutely everything. You know, you got a little bit of that background warming spice from the cinnamon and the star anise. You got that sesame seed. It's got some nice umami from the soy sauce. Good amount of heat, not too much heat. And just adds more texture, which is always a plus. I need some more chunkies. Gotta go deep. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, that's too much. There we go. That's a bite of happiness right there. It got me pacing. That's how good it is. It's so unbelievably savory. The extra chunk on a per bite basis is definitely the way to go. It's just, I can't stop saying it, but it's just so tasty. That's a good chili crisp. Pretty happy with how that came out. It is addicting though, I'll tell you one thing. Although there is one brand of chili crisp that I get at the grocery store pretty often that has peanuts in it, and I kind of wish I threw those in because they are a very welcome addition. Wow, heat's starting to build. This is my favorite kind of recipe, you know? It's something I've never had before or never made before. But it's not super out of left field, you know? It's a super simple recipe, just combining 2 flavors that I've never actually had togetger. And definitely something I'll be doing again very soon. But before I devour the rest of this, I think it's time for the official taste test. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to fling it. It's too tender, you know? All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic chili crisp chicken. I highly recommend giving this one a try, you know? Super simple recipe for some incredibly flavorful end results. And whether you make your own chili crisp or not, which I think you should, it's pretty easy, but definitely be careful because hot oil is pretty dangerous. But you can also pick some up at the store that taste just as good. And it goes great on absolutely everything. This is just a simple recipe, but honestly, it goes great on pretty much all meats. It even goes good with vanilla ice cream, believe it or not. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!